Hi everybody, my name is Taylor Kelly. I am the owner and head instructor at Functional Taekwondo in Grand Prairie, Texas. I'm also known as the martial arts tutor on YouTube. And in this course, I'm going to show you guys how I run my Facebook ads. Now, this has been a lot of trial and error for me. Has been something that I've been constantly tinkering with as early as 2015. As I make this video, this is a 2019 Facebook tutorial. One thing to keep in mind is that my industry is martial arts, but the principles that you'll find in this video are pretty much universal. Like it's very much similar to any other business, whether you have a restaurant business, maybe you have an online business, maybe you sell t-shirts, maybe you do real estate. The principles I'm going to show you are very fundamental, and they'll guide you to what to do correctly to optimize your Facebook, okay? So I'm going to start first off with establishing a funnel, because that's just something that every single system will tell you about, is having a funnel. And it's not wrong. It's actually just really basic, and I think people get it really complicated. So I'm going to try to break it down for you guys. So in a funnel, you have three different categories. You have cold traffic, you have warm traffic, and then the optional hot traffic. Okay, so cold traffic is basically people that don't know who you are, right? Maybe they're scrolling on Facebook and they find you for the first time, right? Perhaps they have an interest in what you're doing, maybe if you have the right targeting. But most of the time, they're people that just have never met you before. It's the first time, their eyes are opened, right? So that's the first step of the process. Now, the second step is warm traffic. So it's the I'll get to it later crowd, okay? And I'll be explaining that pretty soon. But basically, warm traffic is anybody who visits your website, okay? So somebody that clicks on your website obviously has shown some sort of interest, right? They're not just kind of ignoring you. They have some kind of interest in what you have to say. So that's that warm traffic. And the last step is the hot traffic. So this is people who have bought from you in the past, right? So just a really easy principle that you see in a lot of books is, the best kind of customers are repeat customers, because they're so much easier to sell. And the cost of acquiring them and cost of getting them to buy more from you is really, really, really easy in most businesses. So that's basically the three steps to the funnel. We're going to make it really not complicated. We're not going to go crazy with pixels or anything. We are going to use pixels, so if you haven't had your Facebook pixel installed in your website, I'm not going to go over that in this tutorial, but you should definitely do that as soon as you possibly can, because that is really like a game changer. As soon as you install that Facebook pixel, your ad costs are going to go way down, and you're going to be spending really little money to get more people into your business, whether it's for a small business, maybe you have an online business, or maybe you do real estate, or all of the above, okay? So we're going to talk first about cold traffic, okay? Now, this one comes down to who your audience is, okay? So you got to ask yourself, who do you like to serve, right? Who's your avatar, right? So for my example, I teach martial arts, and the majority of my students, as you can see, or at least the majority of my clients are parents, right? So they're moms between the ages of 25 and 45. So that's my avatar, okay? Now your avatar might be different. Maybe you are selling perhaps Marvel-related T-shirts or DC, comic book T-shirts. Well, then your demographic is probably people who are interested in comic books. And the nice thing about Facebook, as I'll get into it, is you can actually target people based on specific interests. Now, one thing to keep in mind is that when you target a specific interest, it does drive your cost up a little more, and you're kind of relying on Facebook to do more of the work. Which, by the way, Facebook it's a great platform and all, but ultimately, if you had to pick between using the Facebook demographics or your pixel on your website, you'd probably be better off picking the pixel on your website, because that's actually going to give you relevant traffic in regards to people who actually want to visit your stuff, right? So just keep that in mind. Now, when you're creating a cold traffic ad, you want to do the following. You want to establish the know, like, and trust factor. Customers won't care. At this point, when you're doing a cold traffic ad, you're not trying to sell them anything. You're trying to just get them to know, like, and trust you. So, a very powerful thing that I see happen a lot is people make just live videos, just straight up live videos talking about a certain topic, and just kind of just educating people, right? So if you educate and entertain people, that's going to get more eyeballs on what you're doing, okay? And then when you make the ads, okay, or when you make these this content, you always have to ask yourself the question as the customer, what's in it for me? So whenever I post anything, I always try to step inside the shoes of whoever my prospect is and say, what's in it for me? Okay, what value am I getting from this post? Is he just trying to sell me something? Is he just trying to get my money? Like what is the thing that is giving me value? Like is he addressing a pain point, something that I'm struggling with, right? So really ask yourself, what pain points do your customers have or future customers have, and really dig into that. Dig deep, get people to read your whole text. Okay, get them to read everything. And on top of that, we're going to have an evergreen ad. Okay, so this may not apply to everybody. This might apply to some of you guys, but for me personally, I like to have an evergreen ad, which is basically, it's an offer. Okay, so it's an offer to cold traffic, basically just showing them that I have something on the table. So for example, as a martial arts school, my offer is 2 weeks for $20, right? Or I know some places have, buy one, get one free, right? If you have a restaurant. Now, the purpose of this evergreen ad isn't to get people to click on it. It's just to show it that it's there, because what's going to happen is that we're going to use this same ad to show people. So let's say some people do click on it, but they don't buy. We're going to retarget those people with a discount, okay? Because those people are more enticed to take your discount up because they've clicked on your ad before, okay? So I'm going to show you guys just a quick example of how to make a cold traffic ad, okay? So you could use the Facebook Ads Manager, as I'll show you guys in here. However, the way I prefer to do it is to actually go on your Facebook page, okay? Because when you use the Ads Manager and you go for an engagement, it's not going to appear on your page. It's going to be what's called a dark post. So that means it's only going to appear as an ad, but not necessarily on your Facebook page. So the first thing you want to do is come up with good content. Like I said before, always ask yourself the question, what's in it for me? Okay? And I'll show you guys just in a quick example. So this is one that I made. It says, do your kids sometimes overreact to stressful situations? Okay, and this is just addressing a need that some parents have. They're like, oh yeah, my kids they sometimes overreact, right, to stressful problems, and I want to fix that. Okay, so what I do is I just kind of give them a spiel, talk about how we can benefit them, and then at the very end, I give them a little pitch. I just say, get the same benefits for your child by visiting us at functionaltaekwondo.com. Okay. Very, very soft pitch, okay? But what I do is I boost this post. So this post hasn't been boosted yet, but I'm going to boost it now. So to run cold traffic, you're going to hit boost post, okay? Now at this point, you can edit the targeting settings however you want, okay? So you can create a new audience. So for example, I'm just going to create a quick one, for example, okay? So let's say your target demographic is women, right? You basically just fill this out, okay? Now, as a local business, be very careful that you watch this thing, okay, the locations tab, because a lot of people leave this alone and they put United States and they wonder why why they're spending, thousands on Facebook. You got to make sure you're in your town, and specifically a radius. A radius is a really good way to make sure you're targeting the right people that are in your area, okay? Now, like I said, it depends on your industry. So if you do real estate, maybe you can expand this a little more. Maybe you can go about, maybe 25 miles, okay, or 30 miles. It doesn't matter. What you got to do is you just got to make sure that you're targeting people in your area, okay? And then the nice thing about this is that, let's say you have a certain, quality of person that you want to have, right? So let's say, because it gives you suggestions too, by the way, based on what you do. So let's say you are selling t-shirts, like I said before, and you want to get people who are interested in Marvel, right? Marvel Comics, boom, you have that as an interest. Let's say you want to attract people who are perhaps also like the movie Iron Man. Okay, maybe you're selling a t-shirt that is talking about Iron Man, maybe the movie specifically, so you put Iron Man film. Now what's going to happen is that it's going to give you people who like these things, okay? And when you do that, it's going to give you a very, targeted audience that's where it's relevant. Okay. Now, in my case, in the martial arts industry, I don't target people who like martial arts simply because most people haven't really heard of it. The people that come into my school have never done it before, so I leave this all blank. Okay, and you can leave your stuff blank too, because we're at the end of the day we're going to use a Facebook pixel anyway, so you can leave it pretty blank. Obviously, I'm not going to have 13-year-olds, be clicking. I think the most important thing, honestly, is just the age thing. Like, you fix the age. I don't have people who are over 65 in my school, so I'm going to drop it down to 50 because I have people who are 50. And that's about it, right? And then you hit boost, and then you're done. Okay? Now, after that, okay, you're going to say, just let Facebook do automatic placements because they know what they're doing. And as far as the budget, I really recommend you do $10 over 7 days. Okay? Now, my strategy for this is, let's say 3 days go by and nothing happens. If that's the case, kill the ad. It probably stinks. Okay? It probably isn't that good. And you just have to be honest with that. It's probably not that good. Maybe your targeting is too narrow. If you leave things broad at first, it's really going to give you a good understanding of who your target demographic is. And Facebook is pretty smart. When you start accumulating likes and shares and follows and comments and things like that, it's going to find people like that. Okay? And as a matter of fact, you can even do this in Ads Manager, and I'll show you guys how to do that too, is you can create a custom audience where people are like people who like your page. So let's say you have a lot of people who engage with it, then you can create a list of people who are like the people that engage with it. So you can do that too, okay? But what I recommend is $10 over 7 days, and that will increase your engagement, okay? And this is a very important step. People miss this step because they feel like, I just want to sell this stuff right away. I just want to get it out there. It takes time. It's a marathon, not a sprint. And the more you do this, the more chances you have in actually getting people to convert, depending on what your business is, okay? So that is how you do cold traffic. Now, how do we do warm traffic, okay? The evergreen ad, I'll show you guys how to do that real quick. Really easy. So you go to traffic, okay? This is basically, maybe you want someone to opt in, right? So you want someone to opt in to your page. Maybe you have a report. Maybe you do. You have a baking website, and you want people to download your free recipes, right? So you're going to click traffic, okay? I would not do lead generation, okay? And here's why. A lot of people say that you should do it. I personally don't agree with it, because what Facebook does is that they target people who specifically are more inclined to give them your contact info. In my personal experience, the lead generation is really, really expensive. And it gets people that aren't really going to actually, there's just people that click stuff and just fill in their information, by accident. I've had so many terrible leads from this. Now, I could be biased, could just be my area, but I don't really recommend it. I recommend you either do clicks, okay, traffic, or engagement. Those are the two ways. Okay, but right now we're going to talk about getting an evergreen ad out there. Okay, so just a general thing to get people to opt in. Okay, so I'm going to hit continue. Okay, and then you just basically follow the steps. Facebook is pretty nice. Okay, they're pretty easy with what you're doing. And like I said, this is the very open audience. This is the audience that you don't know too much yet. You're just trying to get a good feel. Okay, now you can put as much detailed targeting as you want. But I would keep it as vague as you possibly can. Okay, I wouldn't get really, really detailed, because it's going to narrow your search, and plus it's going to drive your costs really high. Okay, so you want to just keep this very, very, very blank. Okay, now the only ones that I would change would be the age, because if you have somebody who's potentially buying from you, depending on what it is, I would go with the ages 25 and up. If you're looking at somebody that wants to buy a house, I don't know that industry well enough. You probably do more than me. But just kind of figure out the age bracket of that. And I would kind of leave this stuff alone. I wouldn't do too much of it. Maybe one thing, and that's about it. Okay? And then for locations, if you're a local business, you want to make sure you put in your location. Now, biggest one that people miss out on. You want to do people who live in this location. Okay? Because if you do everyone in this location, it could be people who are traveling. Maybe you're in a very heavily touristy city, okay, and you're trying to look for long-term clients. If you do everyone in this location, it'll be anybody who just is traveling there, right? because even though Facebook says like people traveling this location, I have found that some people, when I do everyone in the location, I found people who just straight up are leaving, a week later because they were just visiting, right? And Facebook doesn't always know the difference. So you always want to make sure people who live in this location, and whether it's the United States or your city or town, that's what you want to do. Okay, and then languages, don't forget that. That's pretty important. Okay. And then I would leave a connection type alone, okay? Because unless you have tons of likes and followers, that's good and all. But we're trying to get new people. We're trying to get brand new cold traffic. And then for automatic placements, just do recommended. Facebook they know what they're doing, okay? And then for the daily budget, I wouldn't do lifetime budget, okay? And the reason being is because I have found that whenever I've done daily budget, I've gotten better results than when I did lifetime budget. And that's because Facebook they'll try to evenly spread your lifetime budget. And when you do that, let's say, for example, 6 days go by and your budget was $50, okay? And let's say you just get nothing, but you get no clicks. You get nothing's happening, right? And on day 7, one person clicks. You just spent $50 on one click, right? So I wouldn't do that. I would stick with daily budget, have it $5. Just keep your eye on it. Let it run, okay? Because the chances of you getting a better return is higher when you do it like that. Okay, when you have the end in mind, Facebook likes to, they will charge you a lot if you nothing happens in 6 days and the 7th day happens. Finally, something happens. Okay, so it's easier to track that way. Okay. Now, for landing page views, you definitely want to keep it like that, because the nice thing about landing page views is that it's going to actually get people who load up the website. So if somebody clicks on it and they don't actually let it load, it's not going to count. So that's a good one to do. Impression, yes, that's what you want. Bid strategy, lowest cost. Okay, so I'm going to hit continue. I'm not going to finish this ad because I'm not going to actually post this, but all right, so here we go. So you can use Instagram account if you have an Instagram. I highly recommend you do it. Now, at this point, you can just do whatever you feel is necessary, right? So right now, video is very powerful. If you can have a video of something, that'd be good. And, you can do that. Now, when it comes to creating the text and the ad copy and all that stuff and putting in your website and your headlines, in your and your URL, you want to make sure that you split test. Okay, so for example, after you hit confirm, okay, it's going to ask you saying, hey, would you like to make another ad with this? You want to hit yes, go through the same process, and it'll have it copy and pasted pretty much, and then just change one little thing about the ad. Okay, like maybe change the picture. Okay, and then it'll ask you to do another one. You hit it again, and then maybe you change another picture. So what this is called is split testing. Basically, what's going to happen is that you're going to look at your ads and you're going to see, okay, which one's performing better. And usually I would give it about 3 days. So about 3 days time, figure out, okay, which one's getting the most clicks, because that's all that matters right now. We're not trying to get people to opt in. We're not trying to get people to fill out their contact info. We're just trying to get them to click on the website. That's the end goal of the cold traffic, okay? And as soon as you do that, you'll figure out what works and what doesn't. And then now we have the next step. Okay, so the next step is actually using our Facebook Pixel. So to install your Facebook Pixel, you go to Pixels, okay, and then I'm going to stay on this page. Basically, you can follow that, but this tutorial isn't about how to install your Pixel. So get that installed. Now, once you have that installed, we're going to go to Audiences. Okay, and in Audiences is where we're going to actually create a pixel, or I guess create an action for our pixel. Okay, so I'm going to create a custom audience. Okay, now let's say, for example, you don't have a Facebook Pixel installed. Okay, let's say you can't do it, you can't figure it out. Even though it's pretty easy, if you just can't figure it out, maybe your website doesn't let you do that. Maybe you don't even have a website. Okay, because I know some people don't have a website, they can't afford it. That's fine. The other option is engagement. So you can click on this, and what's going to happen, it's going to get people who have engaged with what you're doing. So maybe they watched a video, So perhaps maybe they watch 10 seconds of your video, perhaps they watch 20 seconds of your video. Maybe they've interacted with your Facebook page. This is the one that I've used a lot, and it's worked pretty well for me. So you can do that too. So you can click this, and then you can go with, everyone who's engaged with your page in the past however long days. I usually recommend about 30 days, because that way they're a more captive audience. So you can do that, and you can create the audience that way. Okay, but to really use the power of Facebook, like a pixel is going to be the best, because that's just going to give you very high quality traffic. Okay, and it's going to drive your costs way down. Okay, so I'm going to go to my other profile, so that way I can actually make this pixel. All right, so we're going to create an audience. We're going to create a custom audience. Okay, so we're going to go to website traffic. Okay, now if you have a Facebook pixel installed, this should show up. Okay, so now let's say, for example, you want someone who visits a specific page, right? So maybe you have a page where you're selling, let me give a quick example. Oh yeah, so let's say the ad that you just ran, right? The cold traffic ad, or the evergreen ad, where people are just looking to opt in. Okay, maybe it's just on your homepage. So you can just go to all website visitors, right? Or maybe just people who haven't opted in, right? So you can even do this too. You can go, maybe you type in the opt-in page, so that you copy and paste the URL, and then you go exclude. So let's say you want only people who have visited the page but have not opted in. So then you can put another page of people who have opted in. So for example, let's say you have a website where the person, the URL is something like, I'll just make one up for example, baking.com/report. Okay, so let's say you have that. And let's say you want to exclude people who have actually downloaded your free report. Okay, so now that we did an exclude button, okay, so I'll go to www.baking.com/report/confirmed. Okay, so let's say that's your that's the website address of when people, where they get redirected once they opt in. Now you've only gotten people who have actually seen the report but haven't actually put in their name and email address. And you're excluding people who have done that, because that would be redundant, right? Especially if you're giving like a special discount or a special offer. That might piss some people off if you decide to give a discount away and then people who've already bought something be like, hey, how come I didn't get this discount? That's how you avoid those things. Okay, so that's a way to do it. Another way to do this as well, okay, is like I said before, if you don't have a website, use the engagement. Okay, it works just as fine. I like to use people who've engaged on my Facebook page. Sometimes I have a certain video, right? So there's a video that at least watch 10 seconds of my video, and you can choose the videos you have, right? So you can choose a certain topic, because honestly, if somebody watches a lot of your video, there's a good chance they're probably interested, right? So, if you're in real estate and you're trying to find someone who's looking at getting a home, people will sit and watch. And if they watch the whole time, you can segment your audience. There's a good chance they're interested. They just didn't do it yet, okay? Because like I said before, this is the crowd of people who tell themselves, I'll do it later. It's the I'll do it later crowd. So sometimes they'll click on your evergreen ad. They'll click on your opt-in or whatever, and then they'll be like, well, I'll fill this out later, right? Where basically the purpose of these warm traffic ads is to remind them that, hey, you forgot to fill this out. Let's do this, okay? And another thing you can do too, right? So let's say, let's talk about just creating the actual ad now. So let's say I'm going to go to just one that I personally have. I'll show you guys just a really easy example. So by the way, the way to make an ad using the Facebook pixel, so just for example, I have a retargeting ad for people who are interested in my 4 to 6 year old program. Okay, so I'll go to actions. Let me see. I'll do edit so you guys can see the settings I have. Okay, so I have people who visited these specific pages. Okay, and these happen to be in my um, evergreen ads. Okay, they visit these pages, but they didn't opt in. Okay, so no problem. So what I did is I picked one of my most engaging posts. So like I said before, just to go full circle, when we make a cold traffic, okay, when we make good content, okay, um, it's good to reuse that as a way to remind customers of social proof, right? So I'll show you guys just a really quick example of what I did, so you guys can see that. So this is my retargeting ad. I just started running it, so it doesn't have a whole lot. However, look how low, it's like I've only spent $1, and it's I just started it, and it's already had 60 impressions, right? So 60 people who have visited my website, that's not bad, right? So I'm gonna go here. I'm gonna click edit so I can show you guys what I did. So what I did is I took an ad. I took basically something that was engaging really really well, and turned it into a retargeting ad. Okay, that addresses the target audience I'm talking to. So just another good way to establish social proof, especially if you're new and not many people know you yet. So this is just a testimonial that I have here that runs. It has, let me see, let me scroll down. Has 70 likes and 4 shares. Okay, so it's not bad. So what I do is I run this as just a testimonial. Okay, I run this as an ad targeting people who have visited the certain page, specifically my ages 4 to 6 year old page, and notice I mentioned 4 years old in the title, to get them to read this testimonial, and at the bottom I'll have a call to action telling them to get our trial. Okay, so that's just one way you can do it. Now to show you guys how to take an ad, so let's say for example you have a post that you know would work really really well as something that would get people to know, like, and trust you. Let's say you had a killer content ad that gave you a lot of traffic. When you hit create, okay, so I'm just going to start over so I can show you guys. Okay, you go to traffic, okay, and like I said before, you're targeting people who are, so yeah, by the way, you'll find your custom audience in here, so I'm going to just look one of mine up. So let's say, I'm just going to pick a random one. Okay, my fitness kickboxers retargeting. And then you don't do anything else, by the way. You just leave it alone. However, I would still put your location because sometimes people slip through the cracks. Maybe they just come from a random website and click on your stuff. But as soon as you do that, okay, you figure everything else out. Okay, like I said, $5 a day is pretty good. You'll never actually spend that much if your audience is really small. Let me scroll down. It's being slow. Okay, you can go up here, slide up a little bit. You can see right here, it says use existing post. Okay, so you can select a post, right? So you can select a post that has done really well before. Maybe it already has social proof, which means it has likes, comments, and shares. And when people look at that, they're going to be like, oh, okay, this guy, he obviously knows what he's talking about because he's, people engage with it. Like this one, that says 20 likes, I'd probably do this, okay? Just a really simple way to remind people that you still exist, okay? Now, the last step we're going to talk about is the hot traffic, okay? Let's say it's people who have bought from you, okay? Really easy, okay? When you go to your audiences, I'm going to leave this page. Okay, and you create your audience. You can create an audience, a custom audience, okay, of people who have bought from you. So go to website traffic. Maybe there are people who have visited a special website. So they bought www. I'm just picking something random, carrots.com/buyer. So let's say they bought from you. They went to your checkout page. Boom, you just made $20 or something on carrots. Okay, you exclude people. Okay, exclude people who haven't bought because you're giving them a special deal, right? So people maybe who the carrots udemy.com/opt-in. You know, maybe they opted in, or maybe they didn't opt in, right? And they just they didn't buy from you, right? So you do that. You just exclude, basically find the pages where just the general website, but only target people who have met the specific page, right? So you're excluding people who have visited, you know, who just visited your website, but they actually haven't bought from you. Okay, if that makes sense. Once you do that, you target those people. You create an ad where you upsell them, right? And at that point, your cost is going to be really, really, really low. Okay, so hopefully you guys enjoyed this course. Hopefully this made sense. This was just like a general overview of how you can run Facebook ads. And just to review, just to kind of bring everything back together, your highest budget will be your cold traffic. Okay, so that means your content. You know, they always say content is king. It's true, because that's actually what's going to separate you from a lot of people. If you just put offers in all the time and you never actually get people to know, like, and trust you, you're going to have a hard time on Facebook, because Facebook rewards you with cheap traffic by, you know, especially ones that get a lot of engagement. They'll give you cheaper traffic. Okay, you'll spend very little if you have good engagement and good content that people are going to share, people are going to comment, people are going to like it. Really easy stuff. Okay, so that's the first thing you do. As soon as you do that, you retarget people who have visited your website through your engagement ads and your evergreen ads into warm traffic. It's the I'll do it later crowd. Just basically reminding them you still exist, right? Basically reminding them that you have social proof, to show them high engaging content, and just kind of talk, just kind of be a personable person for the warm traffic crowd. And then lastly, if they do buy from you, now's the chance to upsell them, right? So if you sell, like, maybe perhaps you sell a course online, maybe you sell some course on Udemy, right? You sell a course on Udemy where you're getting people to buy a course. Maybe you can give them a discount code when they, you know, if they've already bought from you, to buy from you a second time, you know, especially if they already like your stuff. Okay, so that is the Facebook Ads Training 101 for 2019. Hope you guys like it. If you guys did like this course, please give me an honest review on Udemy down below.